You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and my name is Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're going to be talking about understanding your body. And it's really important that we listen to, our body in the aches, the pains that you might have, also the times that you might need to eat better. You just feel kind of sluggish and fatigued and tired, and times where you might need to drink less and have more water and just get yourself on a path where you're healthy, you're feeling strong and alive, so that when all these great life moments come your way, you're ready for them, you're at your best. So we're going to be taking your calls, talking about how to understand your body and what that means. Also, in our next segment, we're going to be joined by Sita Gaia. She's going to talk to us about her journey with epilepsy and having seizures and how she's really had to battle that, but also the lessons that she's learned in how to understand her body and know when a seizure is coming. And most of all, we want to make sure that beyond today's show that you are supported. So feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. If you have any questions on today's topic, let's make sure that we connect you with either our guest or give you some resources in your local area that can allow you to understand your body better and really thrive. Lastly, I really want to make sure that beyond today that you're motivated wherever you need us, right? Because sometimes you might be at the gym and you want to work out and you might want to hear the show. Go to Living Full Out and search for it on your app store, whether it be an Android or an iPhone. Check us out there. Or if you have an Alexa, you can say, Alexa, Living Full Out Radio, and she'll start playing us. So we just want to make sure that we're right there beside you for all these big life moments that you're having and keeping you empowered. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, this is Andrea.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
I just have a question about my anxiety. What can I do about my anxiety? Because it seems that I get anxious over everything.
That must actually be really scary, right? Because that's a big burden on your shoulders and on your mind. If you were to isolate one thing that stresses you out the most, what is that?
I think definitely what would be like my most anxious right now would be driving, just because I got into a couple of accidents about a year ago. So that definitely is like a huge part of my anxiety.
Now, is the anxiety more that you're going to cause an accident, or is it that somebody's going to hit you?
Honestly, it goes both ways.
Okay. Well, first of all, you want to kind of confront it. Like, what is it, right? And we know it's driving. So what you want to do, what I would suggest, other people have had the same anxiety. In fact, we had a guest on the show a couple weeks back, and she had been in an accident, and she had fear of driving because a semi had hit her, right? And she feared other semis might hit her. It makes sense, right? But she actually even told me that she went online, she searched fear of driving, and literally there were all these YouTube videos of other people who had had that same fear and what they did to get over it. Have you tried that yet?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so that's one homework assignment for you beyond today's call. What would be another stress for you?
I think definitely just little things just get me anxious, but it's definitely, I know it's more about nerves as well. Like, nerves, what if this doesn't go right? Nerves is this, and that just fuels my anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Do you actually know that when things don't go right, and when someone admits they didn't go right, a couple things happen. Number one, it's actually very humbling and very inspiring to others around you, because they will look at you and go, wow, look at her. Like, I would be embarrassed. Like, I wouldn't mention it. I would hope people didn't see it. But it's really amazing when someone says, oh my gosh, I messed up. I'm so sorry, everyone. That was my fault. It shows a leader in you. It shows being responsible. It shows being confident. So that's one really interesting thing there. Also, when you make a mistake, when you feel those nerves, when you're uncertain, it's really just to acknowledge what it is and ask for support to get around it. So let's say you have a speech coming up and you're nervous about that. Let other people know in your class or maybe a other presenter and see if they can give you the words of wisdom or maybe even tools to give you that boost so you don't feel so alone. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times that's what we're stressed about. We have all this weight on our shoulders, like, what if I make a mistake? What if I get into another accident? What if I fail? And all those what if you're never going to be an I-er. You're a we're, you're an usser. You have so many people that want you to thrive. Do you see that?
I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That accident last year really, really messed me up, and I haven't been the same since. And my anxiety has gotten absolutely worse since then. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and promise me that you'll do some YouTube searching tonight. Just search, fear of driving. How to get over a fear of driving. Inspirational stories of people who have overcome a fear of driving. And I think you're going to find a lot of other people have been where you are and how they got out of it. Okay? But thank you so much for calling in, and we're going to send positive wishes your way, okay?
Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you.
Bye.
Really appreciate that she asked that question, right? Because remember, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Granted, she was in an accident, but the fear that it may happen again, it could, but it's this built-up energy, almost like a big mountain that she's putting in front of herself, when really it doesn't exist. She might go the rest of her days never being in another accident again, and we definitely hope that she is able to release that fear. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. Hello, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi there, this is Simran. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Nice to hear from you. How can we help you today?
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an international student from Canada, and I've been managing my studies, a part-time job, and everything else on top of that. It's been really tough for me to manage my time. My question for you is, how can I manage my time better?
Whew, exhausting, right? I bet your head hits the pillow and you're like, good night, put a fork in me, I'm done.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You are not alone, right? And in fact, I want you and everybody listening, okay, go to livingfullout.com. On our website, it's free. We have an 80 tips for how to bring balance into your life. 80 different tips, okay? Because on any given day, your stress, that imbalance, might be caused because of school, might be caused because of work, might just be caused because you feel like you have so many balls in the air and what if you drop them? Right? So I want to make sure you go to livingfullout.com, grab the 80 tips. But also the biggest thing that I have found to be helpful is keeping to that schedule, but not so strict that you don't have some wiggle room, right? There's just going to be some times when you need that 20-minute nap, right? And if you're, task to duty, and it's back to back, you don't give yourself any buffer. Okay. Mm-hmm. And how you doing on the sleep front? You getting enough sleep?
That's what I'm worried about. I don't get enough sleep. I'm worried about my assignments. Then I have to go to work. It's just all a mess.
Do you journal? Do you write things down?
I do.
Okay, that's really important because what I have found is that when I have a hard time sleeping, it's because I'm trying to remember something. I'm worried about something. And what I find is that when I write it down, it goes out of my mind onto paper and I can release it because I know I'm not going to forget. In the morning, I can look at what I wrote down and there it is again, right? So I'm glad that you do that. Now, do you ever take time to do something that makes you laugh?
I do.
Okay.
I go out with my friends. I spend time with my friends whenever I get time.
Girl, after my own heart. I love it because truly laughter is the best medicine. I know a lot of people when they get stressed, they turn to drinking, they overeat, they eat too much mac and cheese, they, so many bad behaviors, right? I love that you're out there with your friends. I think most of all, what I want you to take away from this call is just know that everything's going to work out. Just have faith in the process. You're doing great. Hang in there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for calling in. And for everybody, when we come back, we're going to join by our inspirational guest, Sita Gaia, talking about her journey with epilepsy and having different seizures, but yet she's living full out. She's doing it, and you can too. So stay with us. We're going to be coming right back. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Let's live full out together while we understand our bodies. We'll be back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Ha, 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about understanding your body. And we have brought an inspirational guest today who has really taken that walk. Because Sita Gaia has had epilepsy and seizures, sorry about that, for years. And the thing is seizures are scary. Sometimes she can feel them coming, sometimes not. And so to just kind of be on guard, to know that your body is spontaneously doing this to you, that's a really twisty, curvy road to go down. And so I really want to welcome her today to courageously, share with us the fear that she went through, but also the times that she had to rally and even rely on her own humor to kind of lighten the mood when things were stressful. So I'd very much like to welcome Sita to the show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, happy to have you. And
happy to be here.
Yeah, you are honestly, just so everybody knows, like she has so much energy that I had to tell her before the interview, you got to pull it back. She is like a burst of energy, and that is very much what Living Full Out is about. But, even with all that positive energy that you have, you've been through it. And it started really young for you. I know at 7 years old, that's when you maybe started to have kind of slight seizures, and maybe your parents thought that you were just daydreaming and kind of quiet. But then they started to really escalate a little bit more with headaches, really severe headaches when you were 8 and 9. And so much so that your mom had to pull you out of school for a week to be tested. Can you share with us about, kind of at 8 or 9, what those seizures, what those headaches were like, and what they did at the hospital?
Yeah. So I started having migraines, and I would lose my vision, and I just needed to be, in a dark room. And so I started seeing a pediatric neurologist for that. And then I started to get these involuntary arm movements. And so we weren't really sure what was happening with that.
Now, when they took you to the hospital and they kind of put all these electrodes on your head and everything was kind of plugged in and everybody's waiting for that seizure so they can test it, nothing happened that whole time. But then as soon as they took everything off of you, you had a major seizure. So what was the plan then? Because clearly you were having them and they were getting more and more severe.
I have this theory that when you're waiting to have a seizure, they don't happen because they know. I don't know. I just have characterized my seizures. But what happened was, when you're waiting, you're just kind of hanging around, and they're hoping to get some sort of activity so they can diagnose it. But then when I had the electrodes taken off, head electrodes, there was a giant grand mal seizure, and I was deemed to have epilepsy.
So they did diagnose you that day with epilepsy. And
yep.
The most amazing thing is you actually had a really good stretch of time beyond that day when you were 8 and 9. You somehow were able to have the seizures become less and less. And when you were 20, you went off to college, kind of that rite of passage that so many have, go out there and forge your new life. But it was actually pretty scary because when you were 20 and you were running, you had a major seizure. Can you tell us what happened there?
Yeah. When I had taken up running when I was 20, and, oh, God, I feel so old. And I lived in Ottawa at the time, so people would run around, run by the canal. And so I was a bit stressed, and that can be a seizure trigger. And so I was like, just run it off and then have a shower, then focus on your schoolwork. So it's like, okay, I had a plan. And so I was running, and I don't really know exactly what happened, but I came to, which means coming out of a seizure, in a pool of blood, and there were like 10 people around me.
That must have felt pretty embarrassing and scary at the same time, right? Because that's a lot of people staring at you when you probably felt disorientated yourself. Did you end up going to the hospital?
Yeah, much to my chagrin. I always seem to have seizures around doctors or nurses. So a nurse had phoned an ambulance, and they, like, made sure I got into the ambulance, and I went to the hospital.
And, you know, what I really appreciate about you telling us everything is I know sometimes with all the seizures that you've had over the years, you really have to think through sometimes what you're saying, right? Just because your body's been shocked so many times. And I imagine that was a little bit alarming, or maybe not even a little bit, very alarming, because you had had so many years with no seizures, and then here it was starting again. Were you worried that, you know, they were back and they were going to become more severe?
No, I wasn't. At that point, Nancy, I was just like, oh, this is a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't too alarmed at that point.
And so you kind of go along, and really about 9 months, maybe 1 year later, and we're talking today about understanding and listening to your body. You kind of got this inkling. You got this whisper, you know, don't go, don't leave the house. What was the circumstances there?
I'm trying to think. This has happened a couple of times. I was, when I was 21, so in 2011, I had a meeting at my university, and I just was like, no, I have to cancel the meeting. I'm like, I don't cancel meetings. I show up to class on time, early, like, you know, whatever. And I was just like, no, I can't go. And I was just like, I didn't know I had this, you know, inkling. So I canceled the meeting that I had, and then I crawled back into bed, and it was like, I had a big seizure. It was like I describe it like a lightning bolt had gone up my tailbone.
Wow. I mean, that's scary because of how intense it was, but also very insightful that you listened to your body and that you stayed home. Now, I know that was a bit of a game changer that day for you, so stay with us. We're going to go to a break, but when we come back, I want to pick up on this moment because that's where fear really washed over you. So stay with us, Theta. Everybody else will be coming right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about understanding your body and really being in tune with times when we feel healthy and alive and ready to just rock it and do all great things in the world. And other times when we feel like our body is betraying us or we have no control. And our inspirational guest today, Sita Gaia, she's taken that walk because having epilepsy, going through seizures that are unexpected, that can be very scary. So I'd like to welcome Sita back to the show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi there. So before we went to break, you were telling us about the morning when you decided to cancel your meeting, not go to school, because you had this feeling, and I believe you would call it an aura, and you stayed home. In fact, you stayed in bed, but then you got this really intense lightning bolt seizure. And
I did, and I was quite scared, actually, because I'd never really had any seizures while I was awake. I've always had nocturnal seizures, so seizures while I've been sleeping. So it was quite scary.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine it was very emotional because they're starting to come back. You know, you'd had them at 8 and 9, then they were gone for years, and then you have one at 20. You kind of brush it off. But now you're having one at 21. And so you called your mom, and what is your biggest fear there? What were you so worried about?
In terms of having seizures?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that they would never stop.
Mm.
I mean, if you have a chronic illness, it's chronic and it kind of fluctuates. So even older, like, it's gone up and down. But, like, after that one day, it just kept going and going and going and going. So I, like, just all over the place, like at home, at the bus shelter, at the grocery store, on campus, everywhere.
Now, I'm just curious because you had said so many of these seizures had happened when you were sleeping, but when they happen when you're awake, like the time when you were running, or this time when you were in bed but you were awake, can you feel they're coming? Like, are you present, or do you feel like you're almost in your own movie watching it happen?
Okay, well, both actually. I have, like, seen myself in third person before, and that is a thing for people with epilepsy. And I also have just, quote unquote, blacked out and was not really sure, like, what happened after.
Both options are a bit unnerving, right? Because you don't have control over this. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that, this was alarming, and you ended up taking a year off school because you really needed to figure this out. But when you took this time off of school, it was heartbreaking because you wondered if you were going to live with your parents forever. You wondered what would life be like? Would you have all these seizures daily, monthly? How did you get through that hard time? Because I think we've all been there, where we're kind of in a funk, we're depressed, we're really worried that it's going to be a life sentence.
Well, when I took a year off, I made, like, little daily goals or weekly goals. So I would say go for a walk, like, 3 times a week, get this done, do this, like, even if it was fun. So, like, that helped me because I'm a very goal-oriented person.
And I think that is great advice for everybody, because whether you're trying to lower your stress and find some balance with seizures like you've had, or whether someone's trying to lose weight, I think mini goals is a great idea. Now, I know that a really well-known, well-thought-of expert had come your way. Finally, maybe this was going to be the person with all the answers. And then when this doctor met with you, unfortunately, he said, I can't help you. And he referred you to an epilepsy clinic. But that broke your spirit too. Why is that?
Okay, so at the time, it broke my spirit because I said, even he can't fix me. Like, because he was supposed to be, like, an up-and-coming neurologist. Like, so even he can't do anything. But it was good that I was referred to the epilepsy clinic because they're epileptologists, so they study specifically epilepsy. So they know epilepsy, to the bone. So that was ultimately good.
So I know you tried a couple of different cocktails of medication to help you. And was that kind of in some ways exciting because you knew that there was an option, there was hope? Or was that also a stressful time because of side effects?
It was kind of exciting and stressful. So I would feel like, I have some hope But then after I tried so many medications and none of them were working, I kind of just lost a bit of hope.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my epileptologist, who's actually retiring this year, but I've been transferred to somebody else in the epilepsy clinic. He told me to go to Montreal, the neurological hospital, for the second time. And they put me on a really old anticonvulsant medication. So, they were unsure, but I was like, oh, good. My body doesn't respond well to new medication. You know, that brand new medication that comes out?
Right.
So.
And does your type of epilepsy have a name?
Yes, it is called refractory epilepsy.
Okay. And for our audience listening today, obviously you've talked about your journey with having these different seizures, but from having lived with this your whole life, what do you know causes epilepsy?
A lot of the time they don't know. Sometimes it can be genes. Sometimes if you have a fever when you're a baby, but then sometimes it can go away. So, lots of different things. But a lot of the time they don't know.
They don't know. And are you still having seizures today?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how do you manage that? Do you have certain things that you do, a routine in your day?
Yeah. I get up at a certain time. I watch my shows on TV. I have breakfast. I'm very routine-oriented. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to see XYZ person. I need to clean up a little bit, around the house a bit. Or if I'm I'm going to go for coffee down my street, then okay. Or I'm I keep an agenda. So I say, I'm going to do this next week. I'm going to do this next week. So, for example, I've, applied for 3 jobs this week. So I was very, motivated to keep going with that.
So I imagine keeping a list, like a to-do list or keeping to a schedule is really helpful for you.
Yeah.
And have you noticed, is sleep important? Do you have to get a certain amount to really be able to function and think clearly and handle what the seizures give you in terms of stress on your body?
Oh my God, Nancy, I sleep so much. I go to bed at 8.
Well, me too, sister. I do too, actually. I'm an early riser and an early to bed, so I'm with you. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on today's show because I think your story is very relevant. I think people who have seizures, I want them to make sure they're not alone, and I really appreciate your honesty, and we wish you all the best. No more seizures. So let's hope they just go away, right?
Go away.
Go away. Thank you so much today, Sita, for being on the show, and we'll be thinking of you and wishing you all the best.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
And for everybody
Bye.
Listening, love that Sita came on the show and really educated us on epilepsy and how she manages and handles having those seizures. And everybody has a story, and we really enjoy hearing from you. Feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. If you've overcome a tragedy in your life, a crisis, if you have a disability or a health condition and you kind of lived with that, but you found a way to cope or manage, we would really like to share your story so that you can inspire others to live full out. So again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. Again, today we're talking about understanding the body. And so I really want you to, over the remainder of the show, think about, gosh, where are you sore? Where are you tight? Maybe you need to stretch more. Maybe you need to go get a massage. Are you eating and being your best in terms of health and nutrition and exercise? Or could today be the day that you make some changes? Are you getting enough sleep? Do you need to write things down at night so that you get things off your mind so that you can feel relaxed? Understanding your body is a journey. And, if we all had it figured out, we'd all be perfectly happy, able, running around people in the world, right? But we're not. We get sick, we get tired, we get stressed. So remember to go to livingfullout.com, grab that 80 tips to how to bring balance into your life so that we can stand right beside you in your quest to live full out. So stay with us. When we come back, we're going to be taking more of your calls. It's all about understanding your body so that you can thrive and be happy and excited to live life full out. We'll be right back. I'm Nancy Solari. Stay with us.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Have you ever lost a cat? And have you ever wanted to get your cat back after you lost it? I'm Andrew Hoffman. I invented the Lost Cat Magnet. Just turn it on and lost cats stick to it. Just listen to one satisfied cat. That's proof. You should invent stuff too. But remember, don't do a Lost Cat Magnet.
Anything's possible. Keep thinking. Get started on your own inventions or just play some games at inventnow.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation, and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say.
for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
To understand your body, you really want to be present. Feel where it's painful. Maybe you're stressed out and you want to really identify what is that stress? Why are you feeling pain? And then we want to go into troubleshooting solutions to help you overcome feeling that overwhelm. That is how you live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about understanding your body, but also just really being present with what is stressing you out. What are those pains? Some things we can control, some things we can't, but we can find ways to manage, to cope, to turn to others for support, to really look for those resources that can get you inspired, to know that things can change in your life. I think that's really important. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. My name is Abby. How are you?
I'm great, Abby. Thank you for calling in. How can we help you today?
So I have a friend. She's actually like one of my closest friends, and she's currently in like a toxic relationship with her boyfriend, and I've been trying to figure out ways to like approach the situation, and I'm just like wondering like what like are some ways that I can like try to have this conversation with her about her relationship.
Well, do you want the good news or the bad news first?
I'll take the bad news first.
Okay. The bad news is it's never, the person who butts into a relationship is not always the winner. Even if you're going into it with the best of intentions and because you love your friend, unless your friend is completely 100% on board with what you're saying, a lot of times people go into, I want to save that person, or I can be the one to change them, or I'm the answer to my partner's needs, right? So I don't know with your friend where her mindset is in terms of her ability to consider letting go of that relationship. And sometimes being the person who kind of inserts that opinion, if you try to push her too much, you actually push her further into his arms or her arms. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Now, the good news is that you are such a good friend, and I don't think wild horses can keep you back from saying your piece. Am I right? I think you're feeling it, you're feeling it, and it's probably consuming you on certain days, or especially when you're around your friend. I bet you've probably bit your tongue numerous times, but you can only do that for so long. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about your friend's preferred communication style. Okay? Are they someone who you feel would respond better to a letter? Are they someone who would respond better to an email or a in-person or by phone conversation? What do you think?
I think she'd respond better to like a letter.
Okay, so you want to start there, because if you pick the wrong communication method, then to the other person it sounds like noise, or it comes across like a to-do or something like that. So let's assume a letter. Okay, in this letter, you can only speak in the I tone. I love you. I'm worried for you. You have to speak in the I, because you're only being able to really say how you feel, what you see, right? what you want to get out of the habit of is doing the you should conversation. So stay away from the you, and write from the place of I. And if you do that, then you're not telling her what to do. You're just sharing with your friend what you see, what you experience, how you feel. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And if you do that, she's not going to be mad. She's gonna receive it, and she's gonna hear it, because nobody wants to be told what to do. And my fear is that if you tell her to get out of the relationship, you might just keep her in it. Okay?
Yeah.
So try that on. Let us know how it goes. Call back into the show, but I have a hunch that's going to go really, really good. And just lead with your heart. You'll never go wrong. You'll always say all the right words if you lead with your heart. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Thank you for calling in. And for everybody listening today, it has been a show about understanding your body. So hopefully you've been able to recognize what is stressing you out in your life. Where do you feel like you need to stretch more? You got this pain that you need to work out. You really need to be more accountable to your eating, to your nutrition, to your workouts. It is never too late. And you know what? If today is too far gone, then you know what? Start fresh tomorrow. And if you're not sure how to get back on track, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. We're going to make sure to get you the resources you need. The entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. We got Rich and Gio and Nick and Ariel, and so many people just want to make sure that you are living your life full out. So we'll be believing in you every step of the way. Go to livingfullout.com to hear today's show again and all of our other episodes. Check us out also on social media to get further inspired. Until then, here's to you living full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.